Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are back. Did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that longer crank that it took? Yeah, that's happening. That's happening with this car. It cranks up, it does run, it does drive. And I was noticing that my volt gauge the other day, yesterday, was dropping to like 12 volts, 11.9, 11.8, 11.6. I flipped the compressors on 10.7. What? My battery light is not coming on though. But my volt gauge, get you a volt gauge. A lot of people complain about the volt gauge. Get you one, it saved you. My battery light did not come on, but I was reading only 10 volts. I would gun it, goes up to 13.3. I'm like, the alternator is charging somewhat. Driving, next thing you know, I'm smelling burning wire. Oh my God. Do you know what it is? Driving around smelling burning wire while you're, yeah, so what was it? I went and I grabbed my extinguisher out of the back seat of my car and I drove with it on my lap just to make it home because I did not want my baby burning down. Didn't want the thing burning down. So I drove with a fire extinguisher. So after a bunch of little tests and figuring out things that were going on, I figured it out. We're gonna fix that problem today because I don't want that. Smelling burn, long cranks, and low volts. We're gonna fix that today. All right, so stick around. Bam! All right, so as I mentioned, we had long cranks, low volts, burning smell. I don't want my baby catching on fire. We still got plenty left for her to do. So what had happened is, a little while ago, we had a crazy weather occurrence here in Texas to where we were like 80 degrees one day, then next day we were like at 40 something for our high. Well, I guess that expansion of hot and cold caused I had one electrical issue that became loose, connection that became loose. Caused a whole bunch of electrical shit to go wrong with my car. And so I addressed that and I fixed it. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, it did a little more damage than I thought it did. Because now we're fixing it. So I checked everything out. Everything was fine. I found out the culprit was the alternator. I almost called that the starter. Should just call it the turbo. The alternator. No. I know. I just replaced the alternator like a year ago. It was a remanufactured alternator. It worked fine up until now. Till sign was the burning. That burning smell, that burning wire, burning rubber smell that I was getting. Well, when I got home and I inspected everything, there was nothing burning, no smoke, no nothing like that. It was the alternator. I smelled the alternator, felt the alternator. That girl was hot. So it's burnt up. I think the reason why the alternator went bad was not over the loose connection on the battery, but I am running dual compressors. I am running a bunch of gauges. I do have the air ride. I have a lot of electrical components on this car, and these factory or OEM styles are only 90 amps. So we went with a 135 amp output alternator. So it should help out, should last longer, should be good. But let me tell you though, one thing that I've learned that when you have a drastic hot to cold change, check your connections, check things out, because things can become loose. And older cars and the electrical system really do not do well when we have that big drop in temperature and that cold weather. So be mindful of that, check that out. You could just be having some electrical issues when it gets cold and you're like, I don't know what this is, but it's just the weather. Just check everything out. So we're gonna do the alternator today. We're gonna do a new alternator belt. We're gonna do a new battery terminal connections and get yourself a fire extinguisher and put in your car. Man, this thing would have saved my life if I caught fire. I drove with it on my lap. It was like right there in case anything. I could hop out and whip it. Well, yeah, save my girl. But let's get that off. Everything off of there, do it. Recommended to go from the bottom. And you got to remove the axle. We're not doing that today. So what I need to do, strut bar, get out of the way. Power steering, 2 bolts, pull that out of the way. Get all these wires out of the way. Your cable, accelerator cable, go all that out of the way. You will remove the upper alternator bracket and you'll be able to finagle it this way. Like turn, and pull it up. And it fits perfectly, just very tight, so you will have to play with it. So give yourself about an hour, 2 hours, take your time, don't get frustrated, pull that out, put the new one in, and we'll be good. So let me start getting this out. see if there's any whatever, and yeah, we're gonna do something. So let me get that out. He says we got something good going on. So right now, I got everything out of the way. I'm ready to pull the alternator out now. So power steering, belts off, power steering hose. He just got it kind of mocked up there. Fuel pressure regulator, vacuum line, that's removed. Throttle cable taken off, pushed to the side. All the wiring harness that goes right here, pushed off, tucked down into there. Any wires that are in the way, we got the alternator top bracket off. We got the alternator loose. We're just gonna pull it up. So this is the part where you just kind of have to twist it and find that perfect shape that'll fit around here. Gotta remove that actually. So this is just like a little bracket I made for grounding to the block to the chassis. Let me remove that. This will come up in kind of a weird way. So yeah, let me get that pulled out real quick. Right. Hey, you guys want to know the little secret? The secret of getting that alternator out without removing the axles? Well, let me show you. Let me show you. So remember this, correlation. You got your terminal kind of this way towards your left foot and that directly over. So it's actually, it's gonna be just like that. Slide it in. So it's gonna be snug, but it'll fit all the way around there and you could pull it up, and then when you put the next one in, do it that way. So make sure your battery terminal is towards your left leg and that's toward the battery. So whatever, just make sure all these are towards you and it'll slide in just this way. And then you slide the next one in, slide it out, slide it in, slide, and it goes in. So that's all you gotta do. Remember that. So now I'm gonna take that out, kind of clean things up a little, put the new one in, reassemble everything. We'll be golden with the alternator. Yeah, it's muggy here. It's muggy. Even the dog is just like, he's done. He's like, nah. He's like, what? So let me take that one out, put the new one in, bam, start it up, and be golden, and then do the battery cables, because that thing, the battery terminal cable is the factory one, so I want to get rid of that and put a newer one that's more secure, just so I don't have that problem again. Yeah, let me finish that up and get things done. I'm ready to drive this car without having a heart attack and smelling burning stuff. Yeah, let me do that. So the day is raining. That's where all the humidity and mugginess came from. The parts are in. So we got the new alternator belt, redid the terminals on the battery, new wires because a few of them were kind of cracked onto it. So the moment of truth, let's see if everything is put back together right, starts right up, bolts are good, and we'll be good. So we got a handy dandy extinguisher with us just in case we have any fires, any problems, any bare wires, everything. One thing is, when you do replace or take off your power steering hose, replace that O-ring that goes onto it. It's really cheap. Just do it while it's off. That's what it is. Make sure everything's tight. Make sure you double check everything that's on there. You don't want anything loose coming off. So let's go ahead and start the car. See if it starts right. All right. It sounds better. And we are at 13.9 volts. So we're on the dual compressors. It only drops us down to 13.7. Rubio, we did it. Yes, everything is good. Everything is good now. I feel safer. I feel better. I don't smell burning wires. The car's loud right now, but everything's good. Bolts are not dropping when I'm revving it. Got everything running. The radio is still messed up, so I gotta replace that. But other than that, we're good. Let's get out and make sure no leaks, no burns, no smoke, no nothing. All right? Success. We turned on the headlights, turned on all the lights, turned on the radio, put the compressors on just to make sure. We only dropped down to 13.4 volts, so we're much better than the 10.1 that it was going down to. I do have a smell, but that's from power steering fluid being leaked when I took the hose off, but everything is good. Nothing's leaking other than what's residual on there. No burns, no smoke, no nothing. We are good. We're good. We're good. We're good. So I'm gonna stop. I'm done. I gotta clean up my mess. Got everything over there. Rufio made a mess. Gloves, belts, tools, fire extinguisher, the old alternator. Just yeah, Rufio. So we're done. We're done, guys. I hope this helps somebody out there that maybe you've been having problems with alternators blowing out every year. Ask yourself, do you have any extra loads put onto it? And remember, the factory OEM or replacement alternators are only 90 amps. So if you are running a system, if you are running air ride, if you're running a bunch of LEDs, underglow, inside, taking it back to 2002, that might be your issue. Replace it with a higher amperage, well, then you might be good. And that little, remember which way I pulled it out. Screenshot it, remember it, draw it, whatever it is, because that's going to be the easiest way to get out so you don't have to remove any of the fuel system. You don't have to do any of that. Just do that. It's a bunch of wires and one hose, and that's better than having to do the axles and all that. But thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart, each and every one of you. Remember, stay gold, stay humble. Peace.